Welcome to the apex of sports ownership, the Apex Athletic Collective.
Yo, what is up, everybody? It's Frosty. It's my guy, Jakey Muffins, aka Jake Schoen, aka soon to be the face of fan controlled racing, I hope.
Hopefully.
Literally, yeah. We're back. We're here, episode 17. This is a pretty big episode for us. Finally, we're previewing the first ever Hoosier State Instigators game. I can't believe it. We take on the Indiana Shuckers on Sunday. How you feeling? Can you believe we're here?
It's pretty crazy. I mean, to think about it, like I tell people all the time, I'm like, yeah, I'm like kind of involved with this basketball team, like might have a little bit of an ownership. And oh, by the way, this weekend we're playing our first game.
Yeah.
Everybody's just shocked. I mean, myself included.
Yeah. It's so interesting. I went to practice last Sunday. It was the first practice I've been able to attend since we had our tryout, and handed out jerseys to guys and took pictures. That's where a lot of those pictures came from. It's so surreal watching dudes put on our jerseys, like the ones that were designed, by fans. Thank you, Jason, by the way. With this idea we had only in January did this company start coming together. It's October and we're playing basketball, like real professional basketball. With three guys that are 6'10" and over. That play, guys that we're paying to play to win games, to a community that's really warming up to us. It's been bonkers is the best way to say it. So we're going to talk a lot about the game tonight. We're going to talk about this weekend. This weekend is action-packed for us, right? So tomorrow, I don't even know if I've told you guys this, so I'm going to give you a schedule breakdown. So tomorrow, I'm actually meeting with some local community leaders who've been handing out kids tickets. Handed out 50 last couple of weeks. They've asked for 50 more. That's on top. So we're doing that. And then that night, we're doing trunk or treat, where we're told there's going to be over 200 kids there, giving them all free tickets. Every single kid, 12 and under, free for homecoming night. Super excited about that. But between those two things, we're doing a photo shoot with the team, some action shots, some team shots. We brought in a photographer with both uniforms. It is going to be an action-packed day. I think I'm going to be in Clinton. It's a 2-hour drive. I think I'm going to leave here at 10. Probably won't get back until 9 o'clock tomorrow night. Maybe later, probably 10 o'clock. And then I got to turn around and then be in Bedford, which is 2 hours south of me, starting. I think the team's going to be there at 1. And so it's our first live broadcast, our first game. Hopefully you're going to be on commentary. We talked a little bit about that. We know we have our other commentator who's going to be on there. In fact, we're going to meet with him later tonight and work on that. I'm really excited about it, but I'm really nervous about it. It's like the first scrimmage, the first tryout we did. We had technical difficulties, This is going to be our first time we're streaming. Like, we got all the streaming set up. We figured it all out, right? We were able to do the October 1 tryout to Patreon subscribers. But this is going to be our first one that's on the road. We're going to be somewhere else. We're going to be in a church where the basketball game is going to be played in Bedford, and we're going to stream live and on location. And we're gonna have a ton of fun. I hope. I've been messaging them. I gotta tell you, the IBL that we're playing with, the league the Pro-Am league that we're partnered with, who hosts the Indiana Shuckers, they've been awesome. They've helped us with everything. They already gave me the Wi-Fi password. They're like, yeah, we can't wait for this either. It's great. It's just great that we can do that kind of work with them as well. So I'm really excited about it.
Yeah, absolutely. And with this one, it's free as well. So I think we're really going to draw people in and help.
That's a good point.
Help join the Patreon too. Well, I think once people start seeing that, we'll have highlights and stuff too. And we'll definitely be more people will be joining us on Friday nights here.
Yeah, I know. And it's still funny. I talk to people all the time. And they're just like in Clinton, and they're like, wow, is this real? We're like, yeah, it's real. And so now for the first time, we'll actually have footage that it's real. So I'm really excited about that. I'm really excited about all of it. Before we get into the exciting stuff, though, I want to I want to get the bad news out of the way. You know what I
Okay.
mean?
Yeah.
Apex Instigators, our swoops team. We got the sad announcement that the future of swoops is up in the air. I'm not not terribly surprised. We all know what's going on with the Web3 market, right? We've seen it in a lot of other hobbies that you and I personally are involved in, right? It's a tough marketplace right there. I was still bummed to see they're not sure what's going to happen after season 2, which we're in right now. They've shortened season 2. I know Jason's put so much work into that team. It's been so much fun to engage the community. I hope that there's a future for Swoop somewhere. And they're looking to figure that out. Hopefully that happens, but it's just unfortunate to see. Frosty McSpacely is still, our first ever legend and always will be. But that's sad. What were your thoughts on Swoops?
I mean, I'll be honest, I'm not like super knowledgeable on the Web3. I know you and I, we both kind of dipped our feet in it, starting with the FCF, but
Yeah.
I think even it's just a great way to expand the fan base. I mean, not everybody's into that, but it does open the door to more avenues, I think. And then like, we had the naming the player, Frosty McSpacely. So even the people that necessarily weren't super involved, I mean, they still had an attachment. Everybody had some kind of attachment to it.
Yeah. Yeah, and again, I just want to shout out Jason for organizing that for us, coming to us with that idea. It's awesome. Hopefully, it keeps going. The good thing about Web3 in this instance, right? Like I play a ton of video games. I don't know. Are you a video gamer?
Not really. I think
Jake,
I've
come
mentioned
on.
this like on some of the other streams I've been on. I
Yeah.
pretty much the only system I play is PS2, where I actually just got a new Xbox, and it's literally
Okay.
only to emulate PS2 games.
That's funny. I'm a huge video gamer, and like, there's so many times where like servers have shut down on us in a video game, and you just kind of lose everything. But with Web3, at least Jason and the other guys in the swoops community, they own the they own the swoopsters. So if somehow they're able to resurrect it, those guys will all have their players and stuff. So that's cool. I hope it happens. But anyway, shout out to swoops. Hopefully they get it figured out. Hopefully they get the investors they need to keep going. A lot of fun, something that the instigators love. So and then the other just kind of piece of sad news that I wanted to share before we get into kind of the fun stuff. So, as you know, we had the tryout on October 1st, right? We signed 14 guys, 13 guys, 13 guys, something like that. Whatever it was, 10 guys. That's how many we signed. Brought our roster to 13. And, we said at the time that we're always going to be expanding our roster. We're going to be looking for guys to play. And we did that. We signed 2 players in the last 2 weeks. Last week we signed Venice Brown, who's like a 6'10", 6'11" center, brother of Alex Brown, AB, our center.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. And then this week we signed Audrey Patterson, who tried out for us that same Sunday. Aubrey's going to be a great player, combo guard. Really excited to have him. The downside of signing players is that you have to make room on the roster. And so, unfortunately, we had to release our first player this week, which was hard to do. We released Amarian Gibbons, who is super talented. It was a really tough decision. Amarian showed out at the October 1st tryout, has a ton of skill. Young guy, right? Still in college. So I hope he finds another team. Who knows? Maybe someday, he gets another shot with the Instigators. But wish him all the best. It was something I knew would have to happen, but wasn't ready for, to be frank, to call someone and be like, hey, we're releasing you out of your contract. So hopefully he finds another team to play for. I think he's got the talent to play in the ABA. Unfortunately, it's, we have a really competitive team and only so many spots for guys. And so let Amarian go and wish him the best. But that's the bad news. I got to tell you, I really like signing players.
Yeah,
Players is not nearly as much fun.
Yeah, unfortunately, I mean that is, the business side of it. You
Yeah.
can't keep adding. There's a limit. I mean, every sports team winds up learning that. Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. So anyway, bad news out of the way. With those two pieces. But let's talk about this weekend's game.
Mhm.
The Indiana Shuckers and their location. So this is a rare game that we're not playing an ABA opponent. Did I just disappear? I did. That's weird.
Yeah, I think you popped off the screen. I can still hear you. I'm not quite sure if anyone else can.
Yeah, I think I just knocked my camera here.
Okay.
I'll get it up and running here in a second. And in the meantime, everyone can look at you.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
anyway, so we this is the rare time. Oh my gosh, it almost worked. There it is.
Yeah.
This
There you
is the
go.
rare time where we're not playing an ABA team. We're playing a pro am team, right? It's uh, pretty much the amateur all stars of of the IBL pro am. And so there's a lot to figure out that we didn't think about. So like what rule set are we going to play by? It's like an AL versus
Mhm.
NL, like baseball fans get that sort of thing. And so we're playing traditional basketball, so you won't see the 3D.
Okay.
You won't see, some of the other, the behind the half court is 4 points, which is too bad because we got a guy, Ethan, who will hit those during the season. I guarantee it, man. He shows it in
Yeah.
practice every week. He's going to hit those. But we're going to be playing traditional basketball, 3-second violations and all that. So it'll be fun to see. You won't see the full ABA rules, but you'll get to see at least what the team does, kind of what they work through. I was at practice last week. They spent the entire practice nearly installing offense and defense, right? Because we've only had 3 or 4 practices, but it's really it's going to be really exciting to see the team. What are you looking forward to most?
I mean, really, it's gonna be our first time for everybody seeing live like game speed, and I think just seeing that for the first time is gonna be amazing. It kind of gives us a better idea as owners, and then also the fans as well, what to expect for the season. And always like, even though this is a scrimmage, it's not counting, just to see like if there's one guy maybe that steps up above everyone else, that we'll keep an eye on
Yeah.
for the rest of the season.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point. We got some players, just from my. So I'll start this by saying I'm not an expert on basketball by any stretch of the imagination. I
Yeah.
watch basketball, I enjoy it. I don't know it nearly as much as I know, say, baseball or football.
Hmm.
Um, but to me, it looks like we got some guys that are clearly like solidified themselves as like big minutes players, right? You got AB,
Yeah.
you got Dylan Ware, right, who both came, from the Lions. You got Jesse Sawyer, who I think is playing really well from what I've seen. You got some guys like that. I think Joe, our very first ever signing, has played really well, and I think he's going to get some good minutes. And then you got a lot of guys that are fighting
Hmm.
to get minutes. We can say, like, we've said it before, it won't apply for this game. We'll play everybody, I think, or we can play everybody. I don't know what coach's strategy is. We can only dress 14 to a game, but only 12 can play, right?
Yeah.
Can hold minutes. So there's going to be 2 guys on the roster that get no minutes in the first game on November 5th. And like I know nobody on that roster wants to be those 2 guys. Everyone wants minutes. Everyone wants the opportunity. That's why they're here. So they're going to come out hungry, I think, to kind of cut themselves into that. Who's going to be the other 1 or 2 starters, who are going to be the 6th and 7th man that step up and play big minutes for us when our other guys are resting. So it's gonna be fun to see. I'm not gonna get into my predictions because it's not fair to everybody else because I've seen more of the team than anyone besides maybe Robert, who's been to everything. But I think we got a lot of guys that are going. It's gonna be tough for coach to figure out how to split those minutes. I don't envy him at all, but he's a smart dude. He'll figure it out. Um, I don't know if you. I don't think we posted any videos of it yet, though. But I think at one point we might just have to put Coach in a jersey. That dude was
Oh
splashing
yeah.
over all of our players with his threes. The guy can ball. Anyway, so we'll leave it all Sunday. But in the meantime, I gotta say I'm really excited for Trunk or Treat. We're gonna see all the kids. We're gonna see the community. The shout out to the like Vermilion County Chamber of Commerce. I don't know if you've seen their stuff on us. They've been posting like poetry about us. They've been posting like some AI art, like really hyping us up. And I'm super grateful to them. It's really helped us to grow our profile in the community. We're starting to get volunteer calls. We're seeing our social media just explode. We're seeing our visits to our sites. It's interesting. I have so in order for us to like check in tickets at the door, right? It's like a QR code.
Oh.
Um, and then we can scan it on the phone or whatever. But you got to have the Wix app, which is who we run our website through.
Hmm.
And so now it's set up. I was gonna turn it off, but it's too enjoyable now. My Wix app has it gives me notifications every time someone visits the website.
Oh,
And
cool.
it's like surprising how much people are visiting our website. We've done some tweaks lately to the website that's really cool for folks that haven't been on there. Get on there. We have pictures of all the players, the rosters up there now. We have a revolver at the top. I don't remember what they're called, gallery or whatever. That's like got some stuff that's Instigator specific. We got clips from the YouTube on there. The store's always expanding, and so folks are on there quite a bit, and it's like weird where we're getting reach. Like originally, right up until I don't know this month, October, a lot of our views were like out of state, which I expect, right? Because a lot of our Discord folks, a lot of the folks that came with us from fan controlled sports, are all over the country, right? But what we're seeing now is more and more from Indiana, more and more from the Clinton area. But then you still get some weird ones. Like there was one today was from Maryland. I don't know how that got on there. Someone from Portugal yesterday. Like I don't know, and so
That's
it's interesting,
Yeah, no, that's interesting to know that we have international appeal already, and we haven't even played a game.
Yeah, we gotta, we're gonna continue to grow and stuff, and that'll be great. But yeah, it's cool. My hope is that some of those people are like players looking for places. It's so funny. We did the first tryout, sign our roster, get 13 guys that we think, hey, this is probably gonna be our roster, and then we just start getting all kinds of like contacts from other players. They're like, hey, do you still have a spot? And things, which was great,
Hmm.
because I think I was on here a month and a half ago, talking about how hard it was to recruit players, and then all of a sudden we had this like boom of like, we had to cut somebody, right? And we had people that like, we didn't sign that went to tryouts. We had several people we didn't sign that went to tryouts, and so it's interesting, it's exciting, but it's also like stressful because I have no idea. Like I think watching this team, I think they're good, right? I think it's a
Yeah,
competitive team, but we have no idea until we step on the court.
yeah, yeah. That's true. I mean, you can watch practice as much as you want, but until we get to the games, we really, honestly, have no idea.
Yeah, you're right. We absolutely have no idea. That being said, what's your prediction for the score? People were guessing that the other day in the
Yeah,
Discord, right? Like
yeah.
complete like I'm not going to hold you this unless you're like dead on. But like what do you think? What's your score?
Uh, I've got to give it to us. I mean, I
Yeah.
got to believe in my own team. I'm gonna go with like 132 to 118.
Wow. Yeah. That's a high scoring game. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um yeah, just a reminder for folks, we are playing 12-minute quarters, right? It's a full exhibition NBA style. Um yeah, I think, they put it out there. I can't remember, somebody suggested it in the Discord. I think I put 124 to 76. I'll stick with that.
Okay.
I think, yeah, so I think we're going to score a lot of points. I think our defense is going to be pretty good. But we'll see. It's all to play for now. Um,
Yeah.
we had a really good call with the arena yet today too, with Coach, the guys that run the arena, and Rob and myself. Went really well, so we're ready to go. And then we basically once Sunday hits, we play basketball every weekend from now until the end of March.
Yeah.
Like, there's a couple exceptions in there. I think we skip a week somewhere in there, the 17th or something of December. Um, but yeah, we play just like basketball every weekend, full bore until the playoffs, which is exciting, because it felt like it took forever to get here, and now here we are, and now here you are, right? And we have other members too, right? I haven't talked about that yet, but a whole lot. But Sven joined last week, well, really
Nice.
officially this week. Sven is a really cool guy out of Denver, really passionate about democratization of businesses. Super cool guy. I'm sure you'll get to meet him and spend more time with him. We're just now getting him integrated and stuff. We have one more person that I believe will join this weekend. And then really there's only like one member slot left potentially.
Yeah.
And those are all filled up, right? So bonkers time. But awesome. It's a good time to be an Apex,
Yeah.
What should we call ourselves? I don't know. Like people that are in the Apex collective. We gotta come up with a name,
Yeah. Yeah. I know, cause like I tried to think of like something cool to tell people, and like I'd love to like I have little business cards now, but I'd love to make
Yeah.
like some more. That's
Yeah.
always been like my go-to thing is random business cards, and I'll hand them out. Right now, I just have the Instigators logo on there. It says like Instigators co-owner, and I hand those out to people.
Yeah. Uh, you know, funny story, right? You and I actually met in person for the first time at the
Oh yeah,
FCF
yeah,
season 2, right? And you gave me a business card when you were there.
yeah.
I still have it. I that's how I got your number when I was reaching out to you before,
See,
is I had it on the
I
business card.
I thought that like when I got the text, I'm like, how did he get my number? I don't think I gave it to him. And then I asked my brother, I'm like, how would somebody get my number? He's like, dude, you hand out business cards all the time to people. I'm
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
oh yeah, I guess if he still has that card, my number is still the same. Yeah. So
I do. Yeah, I
yeah,
have the physical card, and so I was like, I know I have his phone number in that
yeah,
business card somewhere. So it worked, right? Like I
yeah,
reached out to you almost, a year and a half later or whatever it is now, right?
yeah.
So that's all that's awesome. They work. I have a really fancy business card. It's called a dot. Have you ever heard of those?
Is that like one of those that like links it to your phone? Am I
No,
thinking of the
so
right thing? No.
kind of. So it's like
Yeah.
NFC like card. So if I touch it to the back of someone's phone that will like accept like the NFC like codes, it'll
Yeah.
just like pop up a website with my contact information. You just hit save.
Oh, that's cool.
But if you don't, there's like a QR code. Super cool. I think I'm awesome with it, right? And then I get to Clinton where there's no effing cell phone
Oh
reception.
yeah.
And no one, like, everyone's like, Corey, this isn't gonna work. Just tell me your phone number. And I was like, all right, well, it's not as cool and tech forward if there's no there's no
Yeah.
reception. So anyway, so that's fun. Oh, what else? I was gonna say the other news we have. You've seen it scrolling down at the bottom a couple times. I think, in fact, there it is right there. SDMC Anna. We signed our first major sponsorship. SDMC Indiana. I'm super excited. I met with those guys a couple weeks ago. They are cool. They really believe in like helping Clinton. They're a real estate company, and they buy property, build houses, rent out houses, sell houses. I actually went with them to one of their work sites and like saw a house being built there, and they like introduced me to some folks they knew. They were so awesome, so supportive. Huge basketball fans. I'm excited to have them. Their logo is actually going to be on our warm up jerseys,
Oh, nice.
which is super cool for them. You'll see it in the top left corner of our broadcast as I've been working on our broadcast presentation. But I'm so thankful that I got a chance to meet those guys. They're awesome. They're huge Instigator supporters, huge basketball guys, huge supporters of Clinton and Terre Haute, honestly. And I think they also do some work in the Gary area and in Evansville. So all over Indiana. Super happy to have them. They're a lot of fun. So yeah, that was huge news for us, right? We got our first big sponsorship of many more to come, and I've been talking to other businesses that we have in the pipeline as well to talk about sponsorship. But it's just cool to finally see like the instigators are becoming a thing. You know what I mean? In Clinton. So they handed out 50. What did I say? 50 kids tickets already.
Mhm.
So assuming they show up, we'll have a crowd. I don't care if the crowd's all kids, to be honest. In the first game, it's going to be a good time.
Yeah. Well, I'll let you in it on a little news here is I actually booked a ticket. I'm flying out for the first game. So
Oh my
I
gosh,
I plan on being there. Still
that's
still
awesome.
arranging some stuff, but I've got a flight scheduled, so I should be there.
That's dope, dude. I can't wait. Were you flying into Indianapolis?
Actually, I'm flying into Chicago. It's a little bit cheaper.
Yeah. O'Hare.
Yeah.
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 That's dope, dude. I can't wait to see you there. It's gonna be a blast. I think everyone else except for maybe Sven will be there. So there's gonna be an owner's box party.
Oh
You know
yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'm excited about that. That's dope, man. I can't wait. Um, and the good news is if you're there and we need an extra player, we can just put you in a uniform and just throw you out there.
Yeah, that's fine. Or I can like, just do shirtless, because I got the logo on there anyways.
That's
So
true. Yeah.
yeah.
We'll just use a marker to write on your back some number and then we'll go with it from there.
Yeah, that can work.
This isn't Instigators news. I'm all over the place a little bit tonight, but talk to us a little bit. You got to give yourself a shout out on getting these votes to get your face on a NASCAR. Tell us about it.
Yeah, so the people that are familiar with the fan controlled league, I think it's like fan controlled sports and entertainment now. Uh,
Yeah.
they are doing NASCAR now, so fan controlled racing. I'm a huge NASCAR fan. I love motorsports. I live in Daytona, literally right across the street from the Daytona International Speedway. And luckily enough for me, one of the drivers they had was JJ Yealy, and he's literally been my favorite driver athlete like my whole life, basically. I think since
Yeah.
2006, so for 17 years. Um, but I actually, like, I've been in contact with him. I helped get him some votes, and then after we finally locked him in as the driver, they said they were going to pick some fans to put their faces on his car, and that's at Phoenix the
Mm.
same weekend actually as our first game, but it's the Saturday, November 4th.
Yeah.
Um, and luckily enough, I was actually Josh McCouga, the guy that does all their streams, was picking from a hat some names, and my username on there is Big Sap was the
Hmm.
first username he picked from the hat. And then they've got a vote. I think it ended, although I haven't seen any like official confirmation. And with them, I always wait until I see something official. But
Yeah.
I think it ended at 5 today. There's a vote, 3 sets of votes between 6 total fans, 2 on each vote, and I think I won. Last I checked, I was at 71% of the vote. So
Nice.
there, you're gonna see. I think you're gonna see my face on that car. And they also had me on like a podcast this week as well on Dirty Mo Media, which is like Dale
Yeah.
Jr.'s um, podcast company, I guess. But yeah, no, and some of the guys from the FCF, I think it was Freddie. I think we're familiar with Freddie. He gave me a
Yeah.
pretty cool nickname, which I have to give him props for, is Jakey Depp, because I look somewhat like Johnny Depp.
You kind of do. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's dope. Why JJ? Like, what was so cool? What was so great about JJ that he was like your favorite athlete? Talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, so it's gonna sound a little odd because if you're familiar with NASCAR, he's like what they call like a back tier driver. Like he kind of just
Mhm.
drives odd cars and like whatever he can get his hands on, he'll drive. I started watching NASCAR when I was younger. The first time I can really remember watching it was like '06, '07. He just took over the number 18 Joe Gibbs car, which is like one of the more famed cars. And I liked it because it was a bright green car. And
Yeah.
then eventually they added like yellow lightning bolts on it. And I was like, wow, that's super cool. So I started following him because of that.
Yeah.
And then unfortunately, he did not too well in that car and
Yeah.
was fired like within 2 seasons. Then he like kind of went on a decline for years. Um, but I stuck with him just because like that was the first like person I felt attached to as a fan.
Yeah.
And then as I grew up, it's like he kind of became like a relatable person in a way because it's like
Yeah.
even though he's a professional athlete, he's ran almost 800 races, I think, across all of NASCAR, and he's yet to win a race. But
Yeah.
he's coming second, he's coming third, all those other spots. He just hasn't won yet, and I kind of feel like I can relate to that, and I feel like a lot of other people can relate to that because we all have like these uphill battles. even though we have successes throughout the way, we're all still fighting towards like the next step, trying to get one step further in life. And I think that's kind of like what he's doing as well.
Yeah. Yeah, that's dope. I'm not a huge NASCAR fan now. My parents watched it a lot when I was a kid, so I was then. I was a big Bill Elliott fan, and then
Hmm.
Chase Elliott eventually, what is that his name? Chase Elliott, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, Chase
And
Elliott.
then yeah, and now when I do follow, I'm a Bubba Wallace guy.
Yeah,
He's kind of similar, right? He's like that upper mid tier is where I'd kind of put him, right? Like he's on the cusp of being a big deal, but not quite.
yeah, yeah. I'm always surprised because like I go to NASCAR races. It's so weird to like the fan dynamic there. It changes so fast. Like Bubba Wallace was, an up and coming driver. He was in so many different teams, and now he's on Jordan's team, and it's like
Yeah,
almost split down the middle now. He's got like a bunch of people that like him, a bunch of people that aren't huge fans of him. But it's like that's one of the things that's interesting with NASCAR. I think is like the
yeah,
how divisive the fans get kind of sometimes.
yeah. Yeah, that's really interesting. That's one of the reasons I enjoy pro wrestling. It's the same thing, right? Is they
Yeah.
kind of, except obviously they're not going really fast in a car, but the fan bases are really similar. So that's cool. I hope you get it. I voted for you. Um, I hope you get it. I think you deserve it. And so hopefully people make the right decision. Although, I said it when we were talking earlier. You're going against someone's grandma. That's pretty tough.
Well, so the vote is I'm not going against the grandma. I guess they're picking three more people. So Nerd E, he was the most valuable fan from season 2. He's locked in. They're putting his face on the car. And then I
Yeah.
guess there's three separate votes. I'm going up against K Baker 4, which honestly I've
Okay.
I've never heard of, to be honest.
Yeah. So there's gonna be a group of people on there.
Yeah, yeah. So
That's dope.
I should be on there. Um, and I guess that's the second part of like my news story for this week is I actually booked a flight out to Phoenix as well. So
Oh
I'm
wow.
trying to be at that race, and then as soon as the race ends, that's when I'm flying out to
That's a busy
Chicago.
weekend.
Yeah,
You're
yeah. I
you're a
figured
sports celebrity.
I might as well go all out and try to make the most of it.
Yeah, you should screw it. Somehow get on the field for Monday Night Football on Monday and just go for the 3-peat, you know?
I might as well. I mean, at this point, I already like took Monday off, so I guess I
Yeah.
could. Yeah.
So, yeah, so great. It'll be great to see you there. That's awesome. Um in the meantime, have you been working on like a catchphrase for announcing the game on Sunday? Have you thought of one in the last hour?
Honestly, not really. I don't know. I feel like I'm the type of person like even when I gave speeches in school, I kind
Yeah.
of just let things like happen naturally. I have like,
Yeah.
you'd have to give like a 10-minute speech or whatever, and I'd have like one or two note cards with like 5 bullet points. I kind
Yeah.
of just like wing this stuff, and I don't know. I feel like stuff that comes to me naturally normally sounds better than if I have something I have written down. I know like on
Yeah.
the podcast this week, they were like, give us your final say why to vote for you. And I was at work, so I literally was like, I ran out of work to take the call, and I'm like, if you had one chance, like one shot, one opportunity, and I kind of played off that. So
The Eminem stuff. Yeah, that's
yeah,
funny. Well, it worked.
yeah, I think it did.
Maybe what we should do. Oh my gosh, guys are gonna kill me to suggest this, but I'm gonna suggest this for fun. Maybe we should just do a fan vote next year. Have an alternate jersey of just some fan's face instead of the logo.
That would be pretty funny. Yeah.
Uh,
Do like a sublimation though, so it's like all over,
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
exactly. Um, that does remind me. I'm gonna give people a spoiler here, but here soon we have like a cool announcement about the November 12th game, which is Veterans Appreciation Night. All veterans will get in for free with the purchase of another ticket. We have something special lined up for that. It is uniform related. That's why this reminded me of it. But anyway, so be on the lookout for that, as well as next Friday we have the podcast. I might as well plug it. We're gonna have Coach on the podcast next week to talk
Nice.
about the game. So he's going to talk about this week's game. He's going to talk a little bit about the next week's game, as well as his philosophy on basketball. He did an interview with the Chamber of Commerce a couple weeks ago. I don't know if you saw that, where they just kind of it was one of those like written ones. He's awesome. I can't wait to have him. He's doing a great job. So tune in next week. I know we'll be on there, but everyone else tune in next week to see Coach. But yeah, I think honestly that's like all of the subjects I brought tonight. Anything we missed you want to talk about, Jake?
Um, I I think we covered pretty much everything. I mean, I'll just throw this out because you brought Coach up. So
Yeah.
I'm a Syracuse basketball fan,
Yeah.
and we've had Boeheim forever. Is that our plan as well? Like just to have a coach basically until he's not able to coach anymore?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's a really good question. One of the things we're going to do, we had our first fan meeting last week, right? Which was great. Hopefully we have more people in the next one in April, right? Which opens up soon. So the registration for it. But anyway, so we're going to leave it up to fans a little bit. They're going to give grades on players and coaches and things. My
Yeah.
personal stance is as long as we're winning and going to the playoffs, I'm happy with our coach. But one thing we have to know, as owners and as fans, is that like this isn't the NBA, right? And it's not the end all be all. So, just
Mhm.
like players, our coaches, if they're the types of coaches that we want, are looking for that next opportunity as well, which is great for us as well. As hard as it is to replace a really good coach or a really good player, like them making it to the next step is like ultimately another measure of our success. So I hope so. I hope we go 16-0 this year, maybe 17-0 because we may add a game or two. 16-0, we win the championship. And coach is here next year and coaching the same squad of guys, and we're running it back. But the
Yeah.
reality is, the more successful we are, the harder that's going to be. What's your philosophy on coaches? Is there like I've heard this thing, every now and then they're like, oh, he's been here too long. They need a new voice, even if they're successful. Do you believe in that, or are you like, nah, let's run it back with the same guy as long as we can?
So I would say I was under the idea of, just keep him forever, but then going to Syracuse, I think I went at the worst possible time, and it was like he was the coach since 76, and this year is going to be his first year he's not the coach. Um and within the last like 3 or 4 years, he got his kids on the team, so he had both of his sons were starters, and
Hmm.
I think if it gets to that point, at that point, then I think it's okay to kind of push him out. But
Yeah.
if you're still winning and stuff, I see no reason at all. But unfortunately, Syracuse hasn't been ranked in quite some time.
Yeah, they really haven't been super relevant since Mello, to be honest.
Yeah, yeah. Actually, I think our
You know?
football team was ranked more recently than basketball, and our football team's not good at all.
Yeah, not a football college.
Yeah,
So yikes. Well, that's the way it goes. You kind of see that though. I was thinking about that the same thing. What's his name? Bob Stoops, head coach at Oklahoma. His son's on the team.
hmm
It's like
yeah,
okay, like are they good or are they like you know what I mean? You never know. Although that kid looks
yeah,
pretty good as a wide receiver. I'm not gonna lie. He's a really good slot receiver for them. But if your team's not doing well, if it's not ranked and you're doing that kind of stuff, you got to go. And the ABA is really interesting, in that we do have a lot of like familial like connections between coaches and players all over the league, which is
mhm,
interesting for us. I think it's actually an advantage that coach is a coach, right, and not someone who's like an owner of the team, like a
yeah,
lot of teams have. He's not someone whose like son is on the team or his brother is on the team, so he's trying to like show him out, right? He's a guy that's just like all he cares about is winning, right? Which is I
yeah.
think an advantage to us. I just remembered I want to go over some scores from around the league, because I've been watching it some. So, I want to talk about the game that really caught my eye this week. The St. Louis Spirits played a preseason game against the Indiana Lions, right? Who are like an hour away from us, the co-champs. Really good game. It's free on YouTube. Folks should go watch it if they want to see good ABA basketball. Two really talented teams. We watched it this weekend, and it looked like the Lions were going to dominate the game. Going to the fourth quarter, they're up 20 points. But the Spirit come back, win the game by 8 points. And so just like storm back in the fourth quarter. Super competitive game, super fun to watch. And it was just a preseason game. And so those are two teams that are in the Central Division. It's going to be really interesting to watch and play against them. We play the Lions. I don't think we play the Spirit this year unless we get to play them in the playoffs, but we play the Lions 3 times. So it's really interesting to see that team deal with, like, they're the defending champs, so they're coming back. They got a title to defend. They did a really great game. They did a first responders game a couple weeks ago that they won. That was fairly close. And then they played against the Indiana Legends, which is a team out of Newcastle, and won that game by 24 points. So really interesting. All those games, I think, are free on YouTube. Folks should just go check them out and watch them. But there's already ABA basketball going. A lot of teams are playing preseason games against each other. We weren't able to do that just because becoming an expansion team, we had so much other stuff to get around to and get ready. Like things that you don't think about, like, oh, how are we going to get referees? Which I had to figure out. There's a system, and we have referees guaranteed for the first like 2 or 3 home games, which is good. So, and the others will come too. But so we didn't get to play. That's why we're doing this exhibition. Besides just wanting to show love and support for the IBL, but it was hard to get games scheduled, let alone preseason. So I can't wait till like this season's over, and I have like 8 months with the team to figure out like what we need to do, and not all this other stuff about how do we make an LLC. I think I spent January through May was all about how do I develop an LLC and like get the business running. We don't have to do that next year. We just gotta like make sure we pay our taxes and move on with the rest of it. So next year we'll put. My hope is to have 3 preseason games next year against ABA teams. Although we may still just do one against the IBL every year. We'll see how that goes. It's really awesome for them. So yeah, we'll see. Anyway, I think that's our show for tonight, Jake.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
So we'll catch people next Friday. Well, actually, we'll catch people on Sunday.
Yeah.
Watch the game on Sunday, free on YouTube. Not on the Patreon. We'll post it on the Patreon as well, but it'll be free on YouTube. Check it out. Watch the team. If you can be anywhere near Bloomington, Indiana, you'll be real close to Bedford. Show up. Tickets are free for the preseason game. And then next Friday, we'll be back with episode 18 of Instigate Success, where we'll have our guest, Coach Matt Patterson, on with us, where we'll be talking about and previewing. We'll break down the preseason game, but we will be talking about our first ever ABA basketball game. That's when it counts for real. So I'm really excited about it. So until next time, we will see you all then. Jake, thanks again for being on the show. Appreciate having you.
Absolutely.
And I don't remember Jay's catchphrase. What is it?
Oh, man, you gotta put me on a spot. He's so much better at that. I don't remember.
I don't know. Like, I guess I don't know. We'll just say, "Be great, instigate," and we'll just go from there. You know what I mean? And like blame him that it didn't go well. So
yeah.
all right. We'll catch y'all later.